Okay, Beatrice.
Hi guys, we're so sorry for this inconvenience. We were not expecting to have any sound issues, but things happen, right? So let us wrap up from the why section. So skip that introductory talk about our webinars, and let's talk a little bit about our webparts offering and why we decided to create this offering. So the ones of you that know BindTuning, you have known us for being a branding company. We still are a branding company, and that's what we will be. The truth is that along these past 3 years of BindTuning, and with all the experience that we have had with our customers, delivering widgets within the templates was just not enough. So our themes were being packaged with, let's say, a slider web part, for example, so that nice image carousel. But typically, SharePoint users, and due to the complexity of SharePoint, used to have some difficulties actually integrating that sort of widgets with SharePoint itself. And we realized that we had to create a different offering, something that would allow our users to, in an easy and fast way, integrate that type of features with SharePoint directly. So we are fully committed to creating beautiful designs. We want to provide you the best tools in the market to help you achieve beautiful branding solutions in SharePoint. And that is why we decided to create these web parts. This initial set of web parts includes 4 web parts. We will be talking about 3 of those today. So the ones that we'll talk today are the tiles web part, which is like a very cool web part. We'll also be talking about our slider web part, so the carousel, and also about our calendar web part. We still have the alerts web part, which will also be released next week. But we'll only address the initial 3 in today's webinar. Note that the purpose of this new line of products is to actually have something that evolves with time. And when I say evolves, I really mean in a very active way. We have a lot of plans for our web parts, not only web parts to come, but also for the ones that we are actually releasing right now. So we have a lot of features that we want to deploy in the near future. And the most important thing to retain is that we are still a branding company. This new offering complements our themes offering, and our main purpose is still to deliver beautiful design for SharePoint. And with this said, I'll hand it over to Carlos, and he will be showing how easy these web parts are to implement, how easy they are to install. Okay, let's start it over.
Okay, guys. Sorry again for the problem with the sound. So thank you, Beatrice, for the amazing implementation. I will try to do the same for the demo. I hope so. So the first thing that you guys need to know is the installation process that we have available for the web parts. So once you get the download to the desired web part, you will be able to see or to get, sorry, a zip file, and inside that zip file, that is a PDF with all the setup information to install and get rock the web part and the WSP solution. So to install a solution, let me just swap the image to my browser.
Carlos, I think it's important to say that the demo that we will be doing today is for Sandbox, okay?
Solution.
So,
okay. Thank you,
for demo purposes.
Okay, so for to do an installation is very simple. You just need to open your SharePoint environment, and now to go to the settings and site settings. Once you extract all the content that you have inside the zip file, you just need to go to the, okay, let me just open the website on the root site level. It's more easy to implement some solution on that particular level. So I will just open the site settings inside the root site collection. Okay. Okay, you are using SharePoint, so SharePoint have a little bit delay when open some page. So settings, site settings, and below the option web design galleries, you have solution. Just click on solutions, and once you have extract the WSP from the zip file, you just need to click on upload solution. That will open a pop-up model where you can browse inside your environment and choose the file will be the WSP solution. So I will not pick the WSP solution because I have already do that inside my environment. So after you upload the solution, just have to click on OK. That will appear a new model, and click and activate it. Just so simple like that, okay? So once the solution is uploaded, the first thing that you have to do is, okay, I just have created for that demo purpose a simple page. This is just a blank page created for the demo. So to add the web part inside that page, let's go again to the settings and now edit the page. Okay, once you edit the page, inside your page content, the process is the same for all the BindTuning web parts. So just have to click on the page content or inside any area that you want to place the web part. Okay, I have clicked on the page content. Let's just wait a little bit for the page reloads. Okay, now insert options, web part, and BindTuning categories. And for that, propose the tiles and click add. Okay, that will insert inside your page content the web part. And like Beatrice said, it's very, very simple to install. Again, from the beginning, upload the solution, activate, go to your page, edit, on the page content, insert web part, select the category BindTuning and the desired web part.
Okay, so basically no additional software is necessary.
No, not at all.
We're talking about independent web parts that can be added on their own.
Perfect. So let me just open now, edit the settings for that web part. So I'm editing now the web part, and the settings. The first feature that the settings has is can be draggable, so you can just dragable over your page. By default, SharePoint does not provide that kind of behavior. So BindTuning on all the web parts provide you these kind of features. So let me just give a name. BindTuning tiles. I will just type my tiles. Okay. Close the appearance and open the tile settings. Okay. All our web parts are listen driven, so that means you just have to get the data source from a SharePoint list. So once you have to get that SharePoint list, you just have to go to the site contents and add an app. Okay. Now let me just make a quick search for the tiles because it's the web part that I'm using. Right, tiles, search. Okay, that it is the tiles from BindTuning.
So let me just add some information. So basically, once you actually install the web part, this type of list is automatically added with the structure that is necessary to support the tiles web parts. And basically from this point, what we will do is we will create a list that will support that particular that particular tiles web part, so that we can start defining the tiles from then on. Okay, so do you want to just provide a name to the list?
Okay, let me just write my tiles demo and click create. Okay, I have in instance my lists that will be able to see on all the site contents from that particular site I'm using. So the list is created. Let me just open and check if the columns are for, yes, the columns is perfect. So this is the columns from the tiles web part. But for that demo purpose, I have already a list with some data information. So let me just open another one. I have given the name tiles. Okay, is there. Let me just click. Okay, there it is. My list with all the data that I need to have to get the tiles rocks.
So basically, I assume that you have, on the web part, you will have to connect to this list,
yes,
right? At web part settings.
Yes, perfect, Beatrice. The step that you need to do is only to copy the URL from the list. Copy. I'm go again to the page where is my web part, and I'll just paste the URL from the list.
Okay, great. All right, so basically, one important thing to retain is that one of the main purposes of that list is to define this web part in terms of its styling. When we're talking about the tiles web part, you will want to define, for example, how many tiles you have, if the first tile is red, blue, or the second it's color, if it's large, small, if it's square, whatever. So you want to define the styles for the tiles, and all that is done exactly at that list. Here on the web part settings, we will be able to define, for example, how many columns you have, and we have a predefined list of options that range from 1 to 10 columns. For the purpose of this, we will select.
Let's pick 6.
Okay, 6 columns. You have one thing that we call the tiles alignment, and this relates to the behavior of the tiles. If you select a grid alignment, this means that the tiles will behave on a very Windows style look. So they will look very aligned, all square or rectangular, and completely, perfectly aligned. But on the contrary, if you select the wall option, they will actually behave on a very Pinterest-like style, which means that the tiles grow in a column, and the height of the tiles only depends on the size and the proportions of the images. For this demo, we will select the grid. Okay? All right. Then the spacing between the tiles means you can have a gutter between the tiles or not, so it can be 0, or you can go up to 20 pixels, but let's pick 0. Since we have animations, you can also set an animation interval for every tile. By default, this animation interval is 5 seconds, but we'll leave it just blank, okay?
Okay, so now just click on OK. Like you can see, this is very simple to use. So once you click on OK and save the page, let's check. Okay, let's save the page. Save. Okay, just wait just a few seconds. I'm saving the page. So I think the internet connection is a little bit slowly. Okay, now it's loading. You can check the information is loading on the web part. So I give it the name My Tiles, and the tiles are set on my page.
Okay, and they look nice, don't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so basically we have a lot of possible ways for you to set up these tiles. You can either have plain tiles that do nothing, that do not have links, that are just plain text.
Okay, like the events.
Yeah, like the events. You can have, for example, a regular link tile,
Okay.
like our first tile, the get resources, which basically, if you click on it, it will open a regular link on another tab. We also have the possibility for you to define a video tile. And for example, that no more opens up the video on a pop-up, and you can actually play the video. You can also set one of the tiles to be or to link to a document library. If you do so, what will happen is the contents of the document library will be displayed also on a pop-up, so you never lose context. You can also define one tile to connect to a document. And when we link a tile to a document, a preview is displayed also on a pop-up. So if it's an Office document like a Word or an Excel or a PowerPoint, you can actually preview it on the model pop-up. So we're talking about very, very flexible tiles with different behaviors depending on the type of tile that we're talking about. So they don't all behave the same, they behave differently, and you have the ability to define that behavior. As you can see, we also have different types of animation. So we're talking about animations that can flip from down or top, slide from down or top, sorry. They can flip. So there is a lot going on and a lot of possibility regarding the tiles. But let's go for the cool stuff, right?
Okay.
Adding a tile.
Adding a tile. Okay, let me just open again the list. So let me just open.
Oh, and Carlos is going to change one of the existing tiles, right?
Let me just open. Okay, that can be that one. Let me go to the items and edit that particular item.
Okay, so a lot can be defined, right? First of all, you have the option to define the shape of the tile. It can be a square, a horizontal rectangle, or a vertical rectangle. You can define the size of the tile, and right now we have them set to be small or large.
Correct.
You can define the action, which is related to everything that I talked about. So how does this tile behave? Is it a link, a document library, video? And there is a very, very special option that we haven't talked about, which are the smart tiles. And Carlos will talk a little bit more about that once setting up this particular tile, but you can select it.
Okay.
So we will define this tile as a smart tile. Being a smart tile means that you will be able to retrieve data from an external data source, okay? And Carlos will explain all about it. And note that this is done at tile level, meaning that you can retrieve data from different data sources for each particular tile.
Yes, it's true, Beatrice. So technically, we took the decision to retrieve the data with the Camel query, but in the near future, we will support REST APIs. So for users not so technical, the Camel query is a collaborative application markup language that provides the ability to make queries to a list that is inside any website. So once I have a list inside a website, on the action URL, I just have to type the URL for that particular site. So let me just go to my appointments and get my URL for the website. So just a few seconds, please. Okay, done. So I will just type on the action URL.
Carlos is just checking his cheat sheet so he can get all the URLs correct.
We have some tricks on the slides, Beatrice.
Okay.
Okay, let me just pass that. Okay, let me just Okay. Let me just put the entire URL. Okay, perfect. So the type description for that particular action for the smite tile, you need to type the name from your available list that you have inside that testing 03 site. Okay, so this is the name from my list.
Okay, so basically we're pointing to a website and we're pointing to a particular list to retrieve data. And now we want to create a query, right? So we want to retrieve and say exactly what information we want to get from that list.
Okay, so to create a camel query can be a little bit hard.
Yeah, for non-technical users.
Yes. And for that purpose, I have here a free software that I found on the internet. The name is U2U Camel Query Builder. So you just need to provide your credential for your website, and that will give you all the lists that you have available on that particular website. So like I type on the description, input, the people is the list that I want to use. So let me just right click on that list and create a new query. Okay, so let me just, this particular list just have two different columns. So I have the title, the role, and the email, all that IDs and content type, all the other columns is by SharePoint by default create them. So let me just go to the title. I want to place the title and order by title again and ascending. So that creates me a query. So I just need to copy that, go again to my tile and paste. But be sure you don't forget just to wrap all the code inside a view tag. Okay, this is mandatory for a camel query. So I will just create on the beginning from the query the view, and on the end I will close that particular view. So this is only the steps that you need to do to can get external content inside your tile.
Okay, and on this case, so we're pointing to a people list, and we're retrieving a list of people. But note that we could be pointing to a news list or an events list or whatever type of list you want and retrieve any type of data. So basically, we know the type of content that we want. And the second step is to define how that content will be displayed within the tile, right? And for that, we have the possibility to display a few captions for each tile. So we have set the three possible areas. There is a caption on top, one on the center, one on the bottom. For this demo, I think that we will be setting some data on the top caption, right?
Yes. So let me just explain just some few tricks that you have available on the web part. Is once you write some content inside the title caption top, for example, you can use some syntax, some markdown syntax. So that syntax is universal. So you can check on the internet how you can just add a markdown. So if you type an hash, that will saying that you are create some content inside that adding one tag. So let me just type an hash already there, and now filter. I want to place the title information from my lists.
Okay, so we're placing the title inside an H1 and set the white color, for example, for it to be white.
Okay, let me just type the hexadecimal for the white.
All right, perfect. And maybe in a different line, you can set some text and point it, or you just retrieve the title.
Well, no, I will just type some text again. I will just type some role information that you have available with the adding to and row.
Right.
And color again.
White.
I will use the same color.
Okay, maybe clearing the centered caption.
Yes, let's just delete this.
Okay, and save. There are a few more fields that are related to the alternate tile, which means the back tile, but we will not go through these right now.
Okay, let me just make some more tricks.
Okay.
And create an icon. So to create an icon, this is very simple. Just need to type FA hyphen and the name from the icon. Let's use user. And once you type the underscore, you are able to set the size from the icon. So the size will be 1 to 5. So the 1 is the small and 5 the largest. So let me just type 4. And now scroll down and
maybe give it a color.
Okay, a color. Let me just give again blank.
White.
White, sorry. And save. Okay, so let's check. Okay, perfect. I have all the information set. Let's again to my page, refresh, and check the information on the tiles. Okay, I don't need to check in because it's my user.
Okay, that was awesome. So it means that right now we're retrieving data from a different data source, right?
Yes.
So
just show the lists. Okay, this is the list. So I'm using the people list. So I have a title, a role, and an email. I'm just retrieve the title and the role. Okay.
Okay, that is great.
Okay, so to just let me just make a wrap up right now, and before a wrap up, let me just resize the browser and check how the tiles will be displaying. So you can check everything is responsive, so that means that the content can adjust to the size of the window and have some animations behind that. Okay, perfect. Okay.
All right, guys. So about the tiles web part, quickly wrapping up. What have we seen? Possibility to connect to multiple data sources. This gives you 100% flexibility when defining your tiles. You can actually set actions per tile, and we've seen all that is related to links, videos, smart tiles, so everything that we have ready for you. Customizing the appearance and animation per tile, which is also possible. And as you've seen, all the tiles are completely responsive, so ready for any mobile device. So I think that we're talking about a pretty awesome web part.
Very nice. Okay, let's continue. So right now, let's go to the slider web part. So, oh, sorry, on its more common name, the carousel, okay? The carousel properly knows as slider show are some of the best ways of showing huge amount of content within a small space on the web page. So it is a dynamic presentation of content where text and image are made visible or accessible to the user by cycling through several items. Okay, so let me just make some quick demo with the carousel. Okay, let me just change again to my demo environment. Let me close the tiles. So let's check if the SharePoint will be more faster. Okay, for the carousel, I have again a page, a blank page. So the installation process is the same, like I said previously. To install a web part, you just need to upload the solution, okay, activate, and that it is, okay. Now for the carousel, let me just edit the page. And the same steps. go to the place that you want to place the web parts, in that particular case on the page contents. Click there. Okay, insert option. Okay, insert on the ribbon. Sorry, I think the page is loading. Okay.
While it loads, let me just refer that, as I said, this carousel greatly integrates with the themes that we provide. So basically the structure of the carousel is exactly the same as you get in BindTuning themes, but the functionality that you receive is completely integrated with SharePoint, which means that you will be able to define the data from your SharePoint environment. And we tried to keep the concepts that we created for the tiles web part, basically providing you ways to get maximum flexibility when defining your data sources.
Okay, so I have clicked on insert, now a web part, and BindTuning, and now let's pick. I cannot see the entire window, sorry. Let me just maximize my window. Okay, the slider and add. That will create the web part inside my page, and the process the same. So you have to create right now a list. So the data source will be a list. Okay, let me just edit the options from the web part. Okay, edit. I will change the name inside the appearance once the settings are opening. Okay, let me just type the same thing, my slider. I just have create my tiles now, my slider. Come on, SharePoint. Okay, close the appearance, and now go to the slider settings.
Right, so here we have the same concept, right? We will connect to a list, our slider list, where you will be defining the number of slides, so the slides that you have and how they look. Do you want to copy that information right away?
Yes, I have already the list created. So let me just open. Okay, that is the list. So I have some 3 images inside that list. Let me just copy the URL from the list and go to the carousel and paste.
Okay, and from here, you actually have a few options. So to make this really, really interesting, we created different slider templates. Not only the typical carousel, but also a few more options, like a carousel with large thumbnails, a carousel with small thumbnails. We have created portfolios with 3 and 4 columns that we will see later if we have time. And we also created 2 layouts for news, also with 3 and 4 columns. So for the purpose of the first demo, let's see the carousel. You also have the possibility to define the interval, the time interval between slides. By default, it's 3 seconds. You can set a maximum height.
Just type 400.
So 400 pixels. And you have regular options in carousels like displaying next and previous errors or displaying central indicators. Please check just the arrows. All right, and we will inherit, we will use the webpart default styling, but you can actually inherit the styling from the master. So if you are using one of BindTuning themes, you can actually say that you want to inherit the styles from the BindTuning theme, from the master currently applied, and you will get the styles very, very similar to what you see in the themes demo.
Okay, let me just use the webpart default and click on OK. Okay. So just wait a few seconds. Okay, let me just save right now as the page is loading and loading. Okay, save, and let's see magic happens. Okay, the web part is loading. Perfect. I have my slider. Okay, so I have my first image, the second one, and the third. So you can see the text is a little bit horrible, okay? So let me just change that. And once I change the text, I will adding some new slider, okay? So I go again to the list and create new item. Okay. So for the form, to create a new item, you just have to set the URL for the image, a little description, and the slide caption is very, very simple. So let me just go to my cheat sheet and copy the URL for my image. And okay, I will give the description my image for. Okay, the slide caption, I will just type H1, okay, the hash.
Okay, important to say that here we're also supporting Markdown. And one thing that we haven't mentioned yet is that we are creating already the following version of the web parts, where you will have actually an inline editor. You will not have to know all the Markdown syntax. So we are creating visual ways to provide all this functionality without you having to type in the Markdown syntax.
Okay, so I felt the information that I need for the slider. Now just click on save. You have some more inputs to this is the default inputs from a SharePoint list. So that 3 of those are perfect. Okay, so now let me just go again to my page, refresh, and you will see the difference between the image 1 through 2 and 3. The text will not with some configuration. So, but the last image that I have insert on the list have the markdown option.
So basically you had the first defined with black text and now you created one with white, right?
Yes, perfect. So the second and the last one with markdown inside the text.
Okay, looking good. So what if I want to define and use my carousel not to display this carousel view, but I wanted to display sort of a more portfolio version. Can I use one of the other templates?
Sure, very simple. For that purpose, just need to edit the page because the web part is inside that page. You just need to go to the web part level. So let's edit the page. Once you are editing the page, let just, okay, the slider will be loading. Okay, let me just edit the web part and change the template. Edit the web part. And now I will just set a different template.
Okay, guys, I know that we started a little bit late. We will try not to use more than 10 minutes till the end of the presentation. So if any of you is running late for another appointment. Just to let you know that we will take about 10 minutes to wrap up everything, and we will be showing the calendar until the rest of the demo, okay?
Okay, I will try to be more faster, okay? So let me just change the template now and to, okay, portfolio with 4 columns. Okay, on the web part settings and save the page. I will try to be faster, but SharePoint does not seem to be helping me. Okay, save, and let's see the difference on the page. Okay, I'm right now on the page. Carousel is loading. I can promise to you guys this is very, very fast, okay? So
All right, awesome. So you can see that we're using exactly the same web part. So we're talking about the slider web part. We have that carousel view, and now we have a portfolio view. So as we talked about, we have about 7 layouts ready for you that you can use in multiple and different scenarios. All right, so let's just quickly go back to the PowerPoint and wrap up the information that we have for you about the slider. So once again, the possibility to connect to multiple data sources. You can display rotating news, you can display rotating events, you can display any type of information. We have prepared multiple layouts so that you can use the same web part in different scenarios with different types of visualization. Note that you can also customize the appearance of each slide by using Markdown and defining if you want to use headings or text or buttons or whatever. And one thing that we haven't shown, but nevertheless, it's a basis for everything that we do. All the slides are completely responsive. And with this said, let's move on to the final web part that we want to show you today, which is the calendar web part.
okay, let's go to our environment. Let me just close the carousel and the lists. So again, white page, same steps. So once you have uploaded the solution, now just need to edit the page. Click on the page content or any part that you want to place a web part. Go to the ribbon, click on Insert. Now web part option. BindTuning and BT calendar. Add that web part to my page. And that particular web part is created with the default SharePoint calendar. So I have already a calendar created. So I have here some events in my calendar. Let me just copy the URL. So because the web part is getting the data from a list, copy the URL from the list, go to my web part settings.
And Carlos, while it loads, let me quickly say that the reason why we created this web part. For all of you that use SharePoint Calendar and that typically only have access to that monthly view, we wanted to provide ways for you to display events in a beautiful, elegant way. So we decided to create something that would help you to filter events in a simple way and display them also beautifully. So let's talk a little bit about the options that we have for this web part.
Okay, I will just set the same name. Go to the settings from the web part. Okay, it's loading. Okay, calendar settings. And the first input is to paste the URL from the list, from the calendar, from the SharePoint calendar.
Okay, and now a lot is available. So basically, you can define when in time you want, from when you want to display events. So you can set for displaying past events, today's events, or future. Let's set for past events because Ignite is already done. You have multiple possible ranges for the events. So I can define, for example, if I'm displaying past events, I can say in the past 3 hours, 6 hours, and so on. So let's set it for 3 months. I can define a maximum number of events to display. Let's not do that. We'll grab everything. And we also have created a few different layouts. For the purpose of this demo, let's set to layout 3. No, layout 3 because we won't have time to show 2 layouts. You can filter by category, and you can also filter with using your own custom categories. If you have them set, you can actually filter by location. You can define if you want to highlight events for which you're running late. For example, if you were displaying future events, you could actually have those highlighted, the most upcoming ones. And then you could decide if you wanted to hide recurrent and all the events. So basically, with the settings that we have defined, we will be seeing the events that we had on the calendar, which were sort of Ignite sessions, but we will have them displayed in a different view.
Okay, now just miss the save option. Okay, click on save. Oh, some problem? Let me just check if the URL from the list is correct. Okay. Okay, this is my Ignite session, it's correct. Let me just open the settings from the web part and check the URL list. Oh, it's there.
It was just slow.
It's just SharePoint problems, okay? Not BindTuning problems, just SharePoint, okay? Let me just save again and refresh the page. Oh, perfect.
Okay, we would have a little bit more to show, but since we're actually running late, let me just quickly say that, as you can see, we have created beautiful ways to display events. As I told previously, we have about 5 layouts at this point for you to pick from. Those will display events in very, very different ways. Let's just wrap it up quickly so we can move on to the Q&A. So basically, regarding the calendar, note that you can connect to any SharePoint calendar. This is very important because you will be using the information that you have at this moment. You can use multiple layouts to display this information, meaning that you will be able to select a layout that adjusts to your exact needs. You can color code events or not, and we support custom categories, meaning that it is very, very flexible in what comes to filtering events. Quickly, let me just also talk a little bit about what's coming next. Basically, we are working on not only the web parts that you've seen at this point, but we are working on more web parts to be delivered by the end of this year. So we're planning that by December, we will have about 7 web parts available. We also have a lot of features that are planned for the web parts that you've seen today. So not only, for example, replacing the Markdown with a visual editor, and a lot more features. So we do have a lot of plans for this line of products. Please send us all the questions that you have regarding this. Claudia will be talking a little bit about the Q&A. So if you have any questions, just please let us know. Okay, guys. So we're about to wrap up the demo. We will have the Q&A first. We have one question from Jim Duncan. He asks, is that the name of the list or the tiles? When Carlos was creating a list for the tiles, he gave it a name, right?
Yes.
And I think Jim was a little bit confused with he wants to know the name of BindTuning tiles when he installs the tiles in his SharePoint.
Okay, hi Jim. So once you install the web part, so the web part will be provided you as a WSP solution. So you just need to upload the solution to your environment and link to the web part. You just have to create a list, and that name will be the name that you have to link with the web part. So once you create a list, you can type and set the desired name. Can be my list, my tiles, everything that you want. But the only thing that is very important is the URL. So just need to copy the URL. The name is not important, so just need to copy the URL and set inside the settings from the web parts. I think I have responded to your questions. If not, please you can ask again, okay?
So as Carlos said, the tile that you saw was the tiles BT, and he gave it a name. The name was my tiles, so you can give any name to your list. Okay, so I don't think we have any more questions, but we need to wrap up. If you do have questions, please email Carlos to carlos@bindtuning.com. So I want to talk to you about our next demo on the 28th, Thursday, about branding your ADFS 3.0 login page. So you guys can on Google Plus, on Twitter, or Facebook, we will post this next demo. So if you wanna join us, it would be awesome. Okay, so here we have the resources. Again, this recorded version will be available at bindtuning.com/webinars. You can also visit our articles at academy.bindtuning.com. Okay, guys, so that's a wrap. And thank you for watching and sticking around despite all the sound issues. And hopefully see you next demo. Okay, guys, bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye. See you Thursday.